Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. Today we're going to be talking about bathroom exhaust fans, and we'd like to thank Trevor Arenas for liking and sharing our podcast. Home ventilation became popular in the 1800s because people believed that disease was caused by stale, bad air. So building homes with more windows to keep air moving became popular. You know, the first homes with windows, they were just holes in the wall, and then they used animal hide or cloth to cover them.
Really?
And then people started using pieces of animal horn or real thin sheets of stone to allow in light. You know, if you've ever seen like real thin sheets of like granite?
No.
No. It's cool though. It's tough, and it still allows some light to go in. In Asia, the first homes, they used paper for their window coverings. And then the Romans, around 100 A.D., had the first translucent glass, and it was brown. And it wasn't until after World War II that builders convinced the building trades that exhaust fans were the best way to get rid of odors, moisture, and chemicals in kitchens and bathrooms rather than windows.
Interesting.
Especially in colder climates. It's nice to have an exhaust fan rather than having to open a window.
Yeah. Where do you want to start?
You want to start out with some troubleshooting?
Okay.
So if you have an existing exhaust fan in the bathroom and it stopped working, it's usually the motor. Very easy do-it-yourself project, but to confirm that, what you'd want to do is turn on the switch for the motor, and then you can pull off the grille and check the outlet. So what's cool about these exhaust fans in the bathroom is they just plug into a little outlet.
Right, I never knew that.
Yeah, into the housing itself.
I was shocked the first time that we changed one.
It's cool, man.
I'm like, this is it?
So what's an easy test just to see if it's the motor is turn on the switch to the fan, get a non-contact electrical tester, and then just test that little outlet inside the housing, and you'll know right away whether there's electric. If there's electric there, then you know all we have to do is swap out the motor.
What are the steps to replace a motor then?
So the most popular exhaust fan you're going to find in most homes are either Broan or Newtone.
Are you going to spell those?
So Broan, B-R-O-A-N, and Newtone, N-U-T-O-N-E.
I always find it interesting what words you spell and which ones you don't.
You know what's interesting about Broan, besides the spelling of it, is it was established in 1932. Henry Broan developed a kitchen exhaust fan, and then he went on to do the bathroom fans. So since 1932, still making a top-rated exhaust fan.
That's cool.
And then Newtone started in 1936, and then they became one company. One bought the other one out. I forget which one, but now they're all both part of the same company.
Well said.
So to replace the motor, all you have to do is first remove that grill, and it's going to be held in place by clips or a set screw. If you have a set screw, usually it's in the center. You just unscrew it, the grill drops off. If you don't see a set screw, you're just going to grab the outside edges of the grill, pull it down, and it's going to pull down just far enough to slide your hand in there. Then there's going to be metal clips that you squeeze together to release the grill. And now make sure that the switch is off so there's no electric at that outlet, and then just unplug the cord that's going to the motor, and then inside this, so you've got the main housing that's screwed or nailed to the ceiling joist. The motor is sitting inside a frame that's held inside that housing, and it's either going to be held in place with either a clip or a set screw also. If it has a set screw, just unscrew that set screw, and then on the other side of that frame, there's going to be 2 or 3 tabs that set into slots in the housing. So you'll just pull it down on the side that had the set screw, and that whole frame will drop out with the motor. If there's a little tab, it's going to be almost like a bent piece of metal. You're actually going to have to push in the side of the housing so that side with one tab releases, and then the other side of that, it's going to have 2 or 3 tabs with slits into the side of the housing. So you're going to drop this out, and then now that you have the frame out with the motor, you're going to see the model and make on a label. And now you can just run down to the hardware store and match this up. And what's nice is you will probably have, depending on the hardware store, you're either going to have just the motor itself,
Right.
Or you're going to be able to buy a kit that has a new housing. Sometimes they adjust to 2 or 3 sizes to fit into a couple different models, or they're going to have just the replacement model. And some hardware stores can special order this for you too, and there's no cost for that. So very easy to replace. If you buy one with the frame, you just go back, you slide the tabs into the main housing, you push it up, snap it in place, or put a set screw, plug it in, and you're done. Very easy. If you're replacing the motor, most of them have 2 threaded rods. The motor itself is held onto the frame with 2 nuts. So it's very easy to unscrew those 2 nuts. The old motor drops out. You take the new motor, you slide in those 2 threaded rods, and you just put the nuts back on.
Which I think most people think this is a big hassle when your bathroom exhaust fan goes out.
It seems like it's going to be monumental, but it's really pretty easy.
Yeah, it's super easy.
And in fact, on our Fix It Home Improvement channel, if you go on our channel and search, we've done a few videos replacing this.
What if you want to upgrade the fan?
I would say match the size. It's going to minimize the amount of drywall work. So I would check to see the housing itself from the bathroom. Can you get to the screws or nails to easily remove that? Or do you have to get up in the attic? And then if you're buying a unit that's bigger, most of them come with templates now, so you can just put the template over the old one, mark your drywall, cut it out. Usually not that difficult to install. You're just going to put a couple screws into the ceiling joist and connect your electric. And to make sure you always turn off the electric, especially if you're replacing it, always turn off the electric to any project you're working on, that circuit, and then double check it with a tester.
What are some things you need to think about when purchasing a fan?
So most manufacturers, they're recommending the fan is moving 1 CFM for any square feet of floor space. And there's a few different multipliers, but the easiest is just multiply length times width of your bathroom, and that's going to, and then whatever that number is, that's your CFMs. So your cubic feet per minute of air that you're moving. In general, if you have anything over 100 square feet, manufacturers say then add an additional 50 CFMs for each toilet, each shower, or bathtub. And then if you have a bathroom that's over 100 square feet and it has a whirlpool, add another 100 CFMs to that.
Wow.
So you are creating a lot of moisture if you've got a whirlpool. And then another simple rule of thumb is any bathroom under 50 square feet, just get a 50 CFM fan. Anything over 50 square feet, then just match your length times width. And then you can go to the Home Ventilating Institute website, and they've got a really nice site. It's hvi.org, and they have all different types of formulas and all kinds of recommendations for exhaust fans.
How long are you supposed to leave the bath fan on after a shower or a bath?
So most experts, because we're taking a very small room, and that when we're taking a bath or a shower, you're raising the humidity and the temperature, you're creating this breeding ground for mold, mildew, dust mites, and other microorganisms that can damage our house, can impact our health. They're saying it should be left, you should turn it on immediately when you take a bath or shower, and it should be left on for at least 20 minutes.
Wow, you're kidding.
Yeah. And that's what all the experts kind of agree on. Some longer, but it seems like the theme or the average is 20 minutes. Another thing you should be considering when you're purchasing a new fan is how loud it is.
I would say that's the main thing you should be thinking about.
All right. So that you need to look at the sones, and that's SONES. And this is just a measurement of sound. A fan that's 1 or under is considered very quiet. 2 is considered quiet, 3 is good, and anything 4 or louder is considered loud.
You need earplugs. If you're going to purchase a new fan, there's a lot of different options now.
There's some cool stuff. You have motion sensors.
How does that work?
So the fan will turn out when it senses continuous motion. It turns on, and then you have a control.
Wow, that would freak you out, wouldn't it?
So you can set this once it senses no more motion, it'll stay on for an additional 5 to 60 minutes. And
so what if you're taking a bath?
You need to move a little bit. You can't just lay there. Or if you don't move a lot.
Have you ever taken a bath? It's supposed to be relaxing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, then you got to turn it to 60. That's all. And in some of these modern homes, high efficiency homes, Some of the exhaust fans now are designed to be continuously running at a very slow speed, and with some of these motion sensors when you come into the room, so it'll kick up to high speed, and then after the set time, it'll go back down to this very, very low movement, and that keeps, contaminants from building up in these really tight modern homes. You can get some of these bath fans with a nightlight built in. So it's usually a 4-watt bulb, like a regular nightlight bulb. And then Newtone has something called Lunaura. So it's L-U-N, capital A-U-R-A. And this is lit with LED lights. So as your primary light, it really is a nice light, uses very little energy. And then it dims down to the soft blue glow as a nightlight. So
this is the one that you showed me, right?
Yeah, very cool looking.
Yeah, it's nice. I'd like one.
And it's very highly rated. It's an Energy Star fan, so that does a very nice job. And then
it creates a real mood in the bathroom. It's nice if you're taking a bath.
So if you're taking that motionless 60-minute bath.
You'd be really relaxed.
You can also get a fan with a light kit. So if you're remodeling your bathroom, you can add lights to the exhaust fan for more lights. Or you can eliminate the lights on your wall. So if you have a typical bar on your wall, you can pull that out and you can have enough light from the exhaust fan. Many of them are going to CFLs with the 2 pins rather than a traditional socket. So it's preventing you from using a regular incandescent.
Oh, that's interesting.
In your fan. And then you can get LED lights for very long life, very low energy use. If you're putting in a new fan with a light, you should really plan the best placement of it. So if you're changing the unit, rather than just putting it right where it was, if you're adding light to it, you might want to center it if you're using that as your primary light source. Another cool feature is a humidity sensor. So this will automatically turn on when the humidity reaches a certain level. Most of these are preset to run about 20 minutes, but they're adjustable so you can set the time. And these are really nice for high traffic bathrooms. So if you have a lot of people running in and out and turning on and off the lights and the fan, this guarantees that it's going to go on when it needs it and then shut off after a preset time. You can also get these exhaust fans with heaters.
No way.
So which is cool though in cooler climates like here in Chicago. Rather than turning up the heat in the morning before you go to work, you can just turn on your fan, and if it has this built-in heater, you're just heating up this small room, you get ready for work, and then you leave the house. If you're getting a fan with a heater, you need to look at how it's set up, because many of these models need a dedicated 20-amp circuit.
Right.
So it's not just a simple swap out of the old one. But then some just use a heat lamp, so it's an infrared light bulb that uses usually a 250-watt bulb.
Wow.
So that one you don't have to do the extra electrical work.
When my parents added an addition onto their house and they put a second bathroom in, the remodelers, they put in the exhaust fan in the bathroom, and it's got the heater, the light, it's got 2 different fans in there, so it's got a regular light switch to operate the regular light above the sink, but then the exhaust fan, there's it's like a 2 triple switches that are there, and
really?
So, yeah, and
I've got to check it out. I've never paid attention.
So there's a light above the shower.
Okay.
My mom was having me help with Grandma, and she's like, "Turn on the fan," and I'm pressing all these different light switches because I
4 switches later.
Yeah. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know."
So they can be complicated.
Well, there can be a lot of switches, I guess.
As long as we're talking about switches, if you have an exhaust fan without a timer, you can get a switch with a timer. So Lutron makes this Maestro countdown timer. So
the Maestro.
So this will replace any single pole switch, and it can be used with incandescent and CFLs. So you can either pick on, or you can pick anywhere from 5 to 60 minutes, and there's little LED lights, and it counts down from the time you set it.
That's cool.
And then you can always get the Intermatic spring wound timer, and this has been around forever. You have to turn this dial past 10 minutes, and it works anywhere from 10 minutes to 60 minutes. And this is just an old-fashioned device. It works with everything, so fans, heaters, lights, any type of light bulb. And Intermatic, they've been around since 1891, and it's still one of the top-rated timers that you can buy. In fact, in 1952, they designed the Time All timer for household lights, and they're still manufacturing that same switch. Wild, huh?
Yep.
Another option you may see on the packaging is a DC motor. So this is converting your alternating current from your house and turning it to direct current. So we talked about this on the ceiling fan episode.
Right.
These are the most efficient, powerful motors. And in fact, the DC motors are 10 times more energy efficient than Energy Star models.
No way.
Yeah. And that's another good thing to look for. So if you're looking at the packaging, if it says Energy Star, this is meeting the guidelines for energy efficiency set by the U.S. EPA, and these fans are about 60% more efficient than a traditional fan, and then the lighting that they use inside this is 70% more efficient than a standard fan.
Wow.
Now, when you're purchasing a new fan, your ductwork can either be 4 inches or 6 inches. Some of the old fans were run with 3-inch duct. So
Just
you need
to make it more interesting, or what?
Yeah, so you need to make sure you look at that. And the best air movement is going to be running the shortest distance to the outside of the house with as few elbows as possible. Most companies recommend 10 feet or less to get outside. And then smooth ductwork is much better than flex ductwork. And we never want to vent into an attic because this is going to cause damage to any wood inside the attic. We definitely need to vent outside the house. And then if you're in any area that freezes, then you want to use insulated ductwork. And the best way to duct through the attic is through a gable wall.
What's a gable wall?
So your gable wall, if you're in your attic, let's say a traditional house with a sloped roof, rather than going straight through the attic and into the roof, you're going to go through that vertical triangular side of the wall, so where there's no roof. So so instead of cutting a hole through the roof line, it's much easier to go out the side of the house where the roof line has that triangular vertical wood. And then,
so you have 2 gable walls.
Depending on the style of house, yeah. Yeah, in a good old-fashioned house, you're going to have 2 sides that have your roof, and then you're going to have that vertical triangular side on 2 sides. So anyway, we want to try to go out where there's a wall straight outside rather than
I don't think
cutting
you can use a term like that and just be like, well, use the gable wall.
Yeah, man. And then you always want to check the backdraft damper on the new fan to make sure it's working and that it wasn't taped shut, because I've opened a couple of these and they tape the little dampers shut, which is crazy. And if you're not reading the fine print, now it's not working. You wonder why it's
why is it so humid, stupid fan?
And then the best duct is run up with an elbow and then slightly angling it down as it moves horizontally, so that any condensation is going to move out of the house rather than leaking into the fan.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I would just have an elbow coming up and across the tops of the joists in the attic, angled slightly down if you can, and then that's going straight out of the house with some type of louvered vent cover.
On the gable wall.
Exactly.
What are some top-rated companies?
So you have Broan, B-R-O-A-N. You have Nutone, N-U-T-O-N-E. Panasonic, Air King, Homeworks, and the Works is spelled W-E-R-K-S. You have Delta and Hampton Bay.
Do you have anything else to add?
I would say if you have a bad motor, very easy to replace. You kind of just unplug the old one and pop in a new one. If you're going to replace the whole unit, make sure you measure your bathroom. You want to make sure you get the right cfms because you need to move that moisture out of the house, primarily just measuring length times width, whatever that number is, that's what you're looking for in general, unless you have a very large bathroom. The lower the zones, the quieter it is, so anything 1 or lower is considered excellent. I would always look for Energy Star, and then if you have a very tight, one of these new energy efficient homes, I would look into these continuous ventilation exhaust fans. The EPA says that indoor pollution can be 2 to 5 times higher than outside air conditions in these tight homes.
Wow, that's crazy.
So they're really starting to recommend these continuous ventilation exhaust fans because, all these fumes from cleaning products, even, new carpet, plastic, mold, mildew.
Right.
So I think it makes sense.
Let's wrap this up.
Book 1 is on Amazon, so you can download it on all types of devices. And what's the name of it? I can never remember.
You helped write this book, right?
Yeah, but not that I didn't.
It's Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, Book 1 by Fix It Home Improvement.
There you go. Cool. If you like our podcast,
it's a real book, by the way.
You can, and it's a nice reference. You'll like it. Mm-hmm. You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or Jabbercast at fixit.jabbercast.com.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe there as well.
If you'd like to email us, you can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.